I made a video recently on my channel, and I think it was called Pushing Through Our Fears. It really was a video that I was very proud of, and one of you guys really resonated with the words that I said when I was trying to approach the stair set. It was like, I said something like, the thought of getting hurt is more scary than actually getting hurt, and that really seemed to resonate with you, so I'm gonna give you a shout out.
Oh, like, the thought of getting hurt is so much worse than actually getting hurt, I swear to God.
I guess for this video, I'm gonna go more in depth on how my perspective towards fear has somewhat changed a little bit, in a way. Like, my perspective has changed, my mindset, I'm still trying to work on it, you know, like habits-wise and stuff. But I want to talk about that, and the skating in this video, and there's also me talking into the camera, raw and authentically, and reading a book. Yeah, I read books sometimes. And I read this book, The Universe Has Your Back by Gabrielle Bernstein. Hope you guys can see it right here. And this book helped me change my perspective a little bit on fear, and there are certain tactics and certain things that I have learned from this book, which I haven't practiced. I'll admit it, I have not practiced them at all. But at least I took something away from this book, and that's the perspective, and I want to share that with you guys, and hopefully it can help you change your perspective, if you want to, that is. I told myself I wanted to get better, so I tried to push myself out of my comfort zone. A little bit, at least. And I skated the stair set that I injured myself on back in 2022, and I was like, screw it. I'm just gonna throw myself down it. I'm gonna try maybe like a trick or two, and honestly just give it a try. So, here you guys go.
Not gonna lie, heel flipping down this kind of brought back some old memories. Or at least now that I'm watching the footage and I'm doing a voiceover, now it does. At first, I was not really going for it. In these clips, you see me going for it, but I think maybe for the first like 10 to 15 minutes, I was kind of just like basically just ollieing down and kind of just like half-assing my heel flips on the way down. I was kind of like basically just, in a way, like I was bailing on purpose to kind of get like a feel for it, which in a way can help, but then maybe I might also hurt myself that way too, so probably don't do what I did. But after a while, I was like, screw it. I said I was going to do this. I said I was going to try it, and here I am trying it. Sometimes I got close, other times I didn't, other times I just got robbed. The whole purpose of doing this was to try to obtain some sense of consistency to where doing a flip trick on a stair set doesn't have to be that difficult, you know? Like, I want to have it down off a stair set just like how I have my ollies, but it's not going to happen overnight, and I still have to work on it, even now. One thing that also helped me here was also practicing my falling. It kind of helped a little bit, even though sometimes I'm kind of just half-assing it here, but trying to like roll out of it does kind of help, even though sometimes I probably did it wrong and it kind of hurts. So yeah, like that one right there, that was me like just basically just like rolling out of it to try to like distribute the impact, and it helped. And here I was a little bit nervous, but like I said, I have to finish what I started, and it ain't over till it's over, so I gotta get it done. I'm gonna be honest, I think my voice cracked when I screamed out like that. But hey, look at that though. That's beautiful. Cleanest heel flip off a 4-star I've ever gotten. It was great. Oh, snap. It's time for round 2. You thought it was over? No, I'm doing this again on a different day. This is 2 weeks after I did it before, because I had to take a little break and also do school and also do my part-time job and basically will crap like that. But I came back to it and I wanted to try it again. Still kind of hesitant, but still going for it. One of the things here that's also very motivating to me is the fact that this park is kind of crowded. In a sense, it's somewhat counterintuitive because, like, you know, it's kind of throwing me off if I get snaked. But it's like every single second and every single time that I waste, people could probably still get in my way later on. So in a way, it motivated me to keep going. And to also do a couple of practice ollies because, well, I kind of needed to do that for comfort. But when those people were around, it kind of motivated me to be like, hey, you know, Time is precious and it's limited. There's only so many times that the pathway is going to be clear to do it. So one way or another, I have to get it done. I decided to go for it again. The way that it looked from my eyes was a little bit different than how it showed on the camera. Like, I thought I landed it kind of sketchy, but I guess I didn't. No heel touch, no toe touch, no hand touch, but just for consistency as well, I just kind of wanted to get it twice, because like, hey, like, me doing this 2 times in one session, like, that would genuinely be kind of rad. So I kept going for it. I kept getting robbed a lot of times. You're going to see that here. I'm gonna be honest, I was tired. I was really tired. You know, some of these attempts, I was just forcing them, like, shoot, like, I just want to get this done, you know? But, honestly, I kind of wish I ended it a little bit earlier, because shit went sideways. You'll see why. Out of all the ways I could have hurt myself on this stair set again, I did not imagine landing primo. I was thinking freaking like rolling my ankle. Look at that. I landed primo and like the back of my foot just like swiped like the side of my deck. I don't know how the hell I was able to walk up after this, because after this I was limping, bro. It hurt so much for like a day or two. I had to ice it and everything.
I'm gonna read a couple of things that I underlined that and basically just like explain that in a way. It says here, it's our resistance to love that keeps us in the dark. This resistance is the reason we stay stuck in patterns that keep us from thriving. This experience continues to occur because the moment we lean toward the light, the darkness within us resists it. When I read stuff like that, it's like, I think about it like this, and this is like more of a me thing. Sometimes when it comes to certain situations, I choose to think of the worst case scenario, because fear, for some of us, can be fear of the unknown, you know, not knowing what's going to happen next, you know. If I think of the worst case scenario, I can be mentally preparing myself for the worst, and as a result, it won't catch me off guard, and maybe I won't be as scared, you know? I believe that, you know, it's a bit counter, like, it's like, we think that, you know, thinking the worst case scenario is going to help us, it's going to make us less scared, but it literally just does like the exact opposite, and it makes us more scared, you know? Because then we're only thinking of that one scenario. We're not thinking of the other possibilities, you know? Like, for example, me jumping down a stair set trying to do like a heel flip or something, you know? Oh shoot, I might roll my ankle, I might break my arm, you know, this and that and that. And the more that I begin to focus on that, that's all that I really begin to see. That's my only perception, that's my only perspective when doing this thing in skateboarding, you know? When I choose to focus more on that, it's keeping me from looking at the other scenarios, and it makes me basically blind in a way, you know? It's like, for the opposite of what I just said, you know, what if I land it? What if I roll away? What if I get the clip? What if it looks super duper cool and I'm very, very proud of myself, you know? Like, when I choose to think about it more like that, I feel like the perspective can switch, and and in a way, the fear is not gone, but it doesn't seem to bother you as much as it did before. I mean, I guess I probably shouldn't say you, but I think you get the idea, you know? And as I was doing that, I thought to myself, hey, you know, bailing off of this trick hurts. It hurts my feet, and I do not want to hurt my feet that badly. Like, trying to reassure myself in my head, to some extent, with positive affirmations can work. But physically trying to prove it to myself in this reality, this realm that we live in, that's when the switch flips. Or flip switches? Flip switches? You get the flip switches, whatever it is. The fear starts to go away, or at least isn't as bad as it once was, and the confidence is there, and the love is there, and the passion is there. And then once I have that, I mean, at that point, I think I'm practically just like smooth sailing, and I think that can honestly be for anybody. Okay, this part on page 4. When we accept that we are addicted to fear, we can let ourselves off the hook for anything that occurred in the past, and the detours into fear we will continue to make on our spiritual paths. We can forgive ourselves for not doing things perfectly, and we can forgive ourselves for holding on to old patterns. Honoring this shadow side of ourselves is the best way to heal our resistance, you know? And I feel like when I was also going for the heel flip down the forward stair, I'm like, hey, you know, I'm a little bit nervous. I kind of don't want to mess this up. But it's like, hey, I gotta do it anyway. When it came to me doing the heel flip down the forward stair, I did feel like my thoughts were starting to get the best of me to some extent. Because, well, I don't want to mess it up. And I sure as hell don't want to get hurt again, you know? Well, my feet more specifically. I wasn't really like worried about anything else. But, you know, I went for it. And even though I didn't want to, I really began to realize that, hey, you know, like, when I actually get close to doing something, and I'm like really close to accomplishing that thing, that's when the love kicks in. That's when the fear isn't really there, and I'm like, hey, you know, Hail Mary, bro, let's go for it, you know? And I think maybe also trying to accept that fear can sometimes help as well, you know? I feel like I've become more consciously aware of my fears and, you know, my thought patterns in a way. I haven't built the proper healthy habits to fix them yet, or to basically, you know, treat them better, but I think maybe having self-awareness is most likely the best first step. At least, at least in my opinion. Page 133. Okay, be mindful that when you take an honest inventory of your judgment, you may be tempted to criticize yourself for it, or to feel shame for your thoughts or behavior. Instead, take a moment to honor yourself for having the willingness to look with love at whatever choices you've made. And be mindful not to judge your fear with more fear. Oh man, that hits differently, man. That hits differently, you know. I think that's the hardest part, you know. It's like there'd be often times where like I'd be like, oh my god, like dude, I'll get so mad at myself for being scared, and then like I'll be afraid like of my thoughts, you know, because like I'm afraid of that thought coming into reality, you know. But then like as I began to read this book, I'm like, you know, what truly happens up here and what truly happens here are like two completely different things. Like whatever is going on up here is not always going to be manifested out here, you know. And I feel like by reading this book and by really sitting down and just thinking about it consciously, I've been able to separate the difference between, you know, something actually happening and the thought of it happening, you know. And I know I've said it so many times already, but maybe when it comes to fear, maybe fear just comes from our thoughts, as opposed to the actual thing that we think we're afraid of happening itself. I really hope I phrased that right, but I think that's honestly the best way to put it. And it talks about a bunch of other stuff, usually with like prayer and meditation and like God or something like that. I'm not really into that stuff, but I mean, hey, I could always change. Maybe I'll read this book again. Maybe I'll actually try meditation or something, you know? Maybe that'll help, you know? But at least on the bright side, I was able to take something away from this, and it was able to help impact my life in also more ways than possible, you know? Also when it comes to like the other things I do, like acting or like public speaking, you know? It's like, hey, like, I know that I'm scared, but I know that once I go up there and then do it, it's really not that bad. You know, like, the thought of me doing it, that's what scares me the most. But doing it is just like, alright, whatever, man, let's do this shit, you know? And I feel like if we can all separate those two things, the thoughts and the actual thing happening itself, that maybe sometimes and maybe sometimes it's not always as scary as we think it is. Even though I'm one to talk, because I mean I get lost in my head all the time. So hey, maybe take it from me or take it with a grain of salt. That's totally up to you.